The Secret. How many of you have seen that video called The Secrets? Okay. That sure created a sensation, didn't it? You know, the interesting thing about it is it really enlightened a lot of people to using The Secret. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. But we're going to talk about the real secret. Now, the secret is based on this thing that everybody's talking about, the law of attraction. Now, the law of attraction, I went to wikipedia.org, and Wikipedia tells me that the law of attraction is all about you get what you think about, your thoughts determine your destiny. You get what you think about, your thoughts determine your destiny. The law of attraction, what makes it work for you? Focus. The law of attraction, the thing that really makes it work, is focus. Once again, you get what you think about, your thoughts determine your destiny. It's actually an interesting case of the solution is the problem. Is it really the law of attraction that makes it work? Now, I'm making you think this morning. I know this is puzzling. This is good. Because this is something you're going to have to be thinking about all weekend and forevermore now. It's not so much the law of attraction. It's the law of subtraction that's going to make the real secret. The law of subtraction tells us we need to reduce clutter. We need to reduce options. We need to reduce distractions. And we need to reduce our excuses. And you can see that I'm revealing what to you? A code. Okay, so we're going to reduce clutter, options, distractions, and excuses. These are barriers. Now, here's the situation you have. You've got you and your goal, and you've got your barriers in the middle, and the barriers are what? C-O-D-E. Clutter, options, distractions, and excuses. Good. So, what happens if we get rid of those barriers? Things can improve, yes? Now, here's something interesting when I was putting this together. I remembered that, you know, when you have a magnet and metal, what happens with those? They attract, right? Okay. Now, what do you know about magnets and lead? You ever try to put a magnet and lead together? What happens? Nothing, okay? Okay, so I started thinking, if we have the magnet and metal, and I put lead between the two, what happens? It was an interesting question, I thought, too. So I called my rocket science brother, David, who is a rocket science kind of guy, over here at NASA, the Space Center. And I said, here's something for your buddies to research and tell me. So he emailed me back and sent me to two websites, okay? And through those websites, I discovered that by putting lead between magnet and metal has zero effect. Lead, I can't remember that there's a scientific word for it, but the lead has the same shielding power as air. In other words, this magnet and the metal, even if you put lead together, is still going to happen. It's just like there was air there. It has a value of 1, just like air does. But I know that you can disrupt magnetic fields. But that was the other interesting thing that I learned in putting this together, is that magnetic fields always find the other pole. The attraction is always there. You cannot deny it. It's a physical law that the magnetic poles find one another. You can put barriers between. It will shield that situation, but the magnetic force will go over, around, underneath, any which way, but it will connect. Now, the power of which it can bring together is diminished by the shield. Isn't that fascinating? So even though there's barriers between you and your goal, the attraction is still there. It's just those barriers are acting as a shield, slowing down your process. Have you ever felt this way? Yeah. Okay. Now, the thing that I am fascinated with is the laws of nature that are in place that always work the same way, and how I can learn from those and apply it in human relations. Because I believe that all laws of nature apply in every situation. It's just that we're not aware, or we don't open our eyes up to how that we can apply these things. So, if we get those shields out of the way, then we can have things happen. So if we subtract the barriers, now you and your goal can attract to one another. So you are attracted to your goal, and your goal is attracted to you. Now, how can you use this in marketing of your business? You have prospects out there who are attracted to you already, but there's barriers in the way, right? You've got to help your prospects become your customers by working the code. You've got to help people reduce their clutter. You've got to help people reduce their what? Options. You've got to help people reduce their distractions. You've got to help people reduce excuses. Now, can you see if you're the person who helps people reduce those things, that you become the obvious choice to do business with? How many of you have too much clutter in your life? How many of you have too many options? How many of you got too many distractions? How many of you are full of too many excuses? Okay, we all got our hands up. If somebody can come along to help you reduce all four of those things, it's like, where have you been all my life? I've been searching for this answer. Now, in your business, you can be that person, that business to a lot of people if you will help them do that. I think this is one of the biggest problems I see in people, is they've got too much clutter, too many options, too many distractions, and too many excuses. And that keeps them from getting where they want to go. So we get rid of those barriers. You can be attracted to those people, they can be attracted to you. So that's the law of subtraction. But is it enough? Now, let's talk about the law of traction. Law of traction, you need to increase your contacts. Now, what's traction? Let me back up and talk about that for a second. You remember Star Trek, that TV show? What was the thing when they tried to, the little shuttle thing was out there and they needed to get it back to the spaceship real quick? They had the tractor beam, right? Now, what did that thing do? It went out and was zing and captured it and did the magic mojo on this little spaceship thing, and it pulled it to itself, right? It attracted it to it, the tractor beam, and brought it back home to the ship. A tractor. Why do we call a tractor a tractor? Think about the wheels on the back end of that thing. They're big wheels. What kind of treads they got on them? Big, heavy, deep treads. You can do things with a tractor that you absolutely cannot do with a pickup truck, even a big pickup truck. That's because they provide us traction. For us to develop traction, we need to have more contacts, increase our observation skills. In other words, open your eyes and see what's going on around you. Develop dependable behavior. Don't be so erratic. Be focused on things. Let people know that they can depend on your behavior. And develop your own expert status. That's how you're going to develop traction in your life and your business. Is that enough? Let's talk about the law of action now. Law of action states, and here we go with our code words again, C is for commitment. You've got to decide to do something. You've got to decide to stand for something. You've got to take positions. You've got to let the world know that you're going to do things and you're committed to the concept, the idea, or the activity. O, observe success. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. The greatest way to shortcut your way to success is to model others, to emulate. D, for do it now. I've talked about this before. I learned this years ago from a book called Success with a Positive Mental Attitude by W. Clement Stone. He's kind of a cohort of Napoleon Hill. And in that chapter, he talks about a 3-word phrase that has always helped him get things done, and it was do it now. Can you do everything right now? No. But when something is placed before you that needs to be done, can you make a decision right then, either to do it now or to schedule when you will do it now? You can always do that. The problem is a situation arises in front of us, and most people will not do it now, and they won't do it later either. They just don't do it. And it's so much easier if you ingrain this into you of do it now. Do something with that situation right now. You get things done, and you get things accomplished, and you move on to the next thing, instead of all the CODEs piling up in front of you. And E, experiment and adjust, otherwise known as test, test, test. This is the best way for you to learn things. It's the best way for you to gain experience. It's the best way for you to find out the truth of what works. Now, I get a lot of my learning